It's better, I've played since I was little, but there's so much, every time you watch these videos and stuff, you go, there's so much to learn.
Yeah. It's also very physical. And you have to be in shape. You can't play for very long if you're not.
I did 3 hours last Friday night and it was pretty rock intensive for a while.
Yeah, I was in the best shape ever when I was playing all the time.
Yeah, I felt like I had a workout the other night. That was a good one.
You'll know Chad Patrick, Don Valley. I think he teaches at the Aspen Music Festival, but he's a drummer. He's who recorded drums.
Really.
Great drummer.
The only problem with being the drummer in the band is you have to schlep a lot of
You
stuff.
do. Yeah. It's your choice though.
Remind myself.
That's
easy.
Yeah.
harmonica,
You carry four,
but
Are you in a band?
I am, yeah.
Which band?
I just joined up with Stillhouse Junkies out
Oh.
of Durango.
Yeah.
Oh,
oh, that's fine.
Yeah. So, yeah, they've got a very active schedule. So,
it's not an
That's
easy
cool.
commute from here.
no, but they're kind of all over Colorado and
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
I've heard of that band before.
Yeah.
Same.
yeah,
That's a
Yeah.
good band,
yeah, they're,
like not a pretend band.
yeah. Serious band.
Alrighty, it's 5:30.
okay. Oh, I'm on.
You're on.
Open up the Board of Adjustments meeting for Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. And we have new business, one topic here, the Wiser side yard setback variance. Oh, yeah. And so present is Seth Hemilowski.
Charles Cunningham.
And we have Charlie Pudlock online.
Do you have your posting? Your notice of posting?
Mhm.
Okay, and you have that?
Yep.
I guess the floor is yours.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay,
go for it.
great. Thank you. I'm Erin Markley. I'm with Bendon Adams and as we all know, here today with me are Doug and Linda Weiser, the property owners. Ecosystems Design has provided architectural plans just to show the existing conditions. We're here tonight to request a side yard setback variance for the property at 555 Katy Park Lane. We understand that we need a quorum, and with 3 folks here tonight and just, given off season and other varying factors, we understand that we need all 3 of your votes in favor tonight in order to grant the variance, that we're seeking. We really appreciate your time this evening, and I want to thank staff for all their hard work, in collaboration on this application. I'm going to keep this presentation short to be considerate of everyone's time tonight, especially given the weather. This property is located in Snowmass Creek Canyon, off of Old Snowmass. So I don't know if my cursor shows up there a little bit.
Mhm.
It's a little bit dragging, sorry, but up here, kind of where my hand is, would be where Highway 82 is. You turn off of Snowmass Creek Road at the Conoco, drive up Snowmass Creek, and then access Katy Park Lane from there, which gets you right inside of the property. The parcel is outside, outside of the urban growth boundary, and it's within the urban area of Pitkin County. This property is parcel 3 or lot 3 of the Twin Creeks Ranch subdivision, also known as the OB Joyful subdivision. It is just under 43 acres in size, and it is majority within the RS 30 zone district. I don't know if you can see my cursor again. There's a small sliver at the top here. That's within the AR 10 zone district. This property is not visible from Highway 82 or from Snowmass Creek Road. The property was purchased by the applicants in 1998. Later that same year, in November, the Board of County Commissioners approved Resolution 98-244 for a 1041 hazard review, known today as the activity envelope and site plan review. and a lot line adjustment for 5 different parcels, including the 555 property. In addition to development of a CDU and approving the property as a TDR receiver site for additional floor area. From there, the property was developed under 2 permit numbers, 1354.2000 for the single family residence, and permit number 0757.2001 for CDU that is located on top of their barn. Both of these were CO'd or received certificates of occupancy in 2003. And then in 2004, administrative decision 5-2024 was approved for a minor plat amendment and development of a greenhouse. During this time, while working with the community development department, it was discovered that there were a few structures on the property that were not permitted. So this administrative decision was conditioned that these structures would pursue, legality and obtaining permits. This property, I highlighted the existing structures all in green, the single family home here in the bottom right corner, and then 2 barns, the larger one of which is the barn that has the CDU on top, a pond pergola structure, and then up here in the left-hand corner is an agricultural shed here along the western, sorry about that. Here along the western property line, which is the subject of our discussion this evening. And then also in sort of a light yellowish orange is a riding arena. And then in blue, there's a pond along with access, driveway access that leads into the different areas of the property. There are a few constraints that exist on this property, which is pretty typical for properties up within the canyon. There's a few intermittent slopes that are present on the property. It's also mapped within some wildfire and wildlife, both of which, as you can see, sort of on the line there, these areas with higher wildfire is on the hillside above the home, along with the elk and mule deer sort of areas. And these are, as I said, on the hillside above and completely separate from existing development. There's also a little sliver of floodplain sort of at the bottom of the parcel here. However, the agricultural the structure that we're discussing tonight is well north of that and well outside of any floodplains or waterways. There was an ecologist that was engaged during the greenhouse application, the recent one of 2004. And he recommended a series of mitigation techniques for wildlife and wildfire that have proven successful in other projects. And the applicants are committed to undergoing any sort of recommendations necessary. So once again, we're here tonight to talk about the agricultural shed at the along the western property line here. This here's a little bit closer up to show you at the closest point to the property line. This shed is a little bit over 1.5 feet, and then at its furthest point to the north here, it's a little bit over 10.5 feet. The required side yard setback for the RS30 and the AR10 zone district is 50 feet. And so at that smallest point there, that equates to our variance request, which is a setback of 48.5 feet. As you can see here, the fence that's existing is just a little bit inside of the property line. But just to give you a sense of what it looks like a little bit here, you can see the structure. I did it up close. And then further away, you can see the existing fence with the property line just a little bit inside of that. We're requesting that this structure remain in its current location. Excuse me, the structure was in this location when the applicants purchased the property. It is believed that the 1998-99 lot line adjustment created a nonconformity for the structure by placing it to that newly established at the time property line. Moving of the structure would result in practical difficulties upon both the owners and the adjacent neighbors who've written letters in support of granting this variance. Both of the neighbor letters opine that moving this structure would actually be less appealing. Then
Is this the letter?
That's them, yep. Actually be less appealing than its current location, as the current location is not visible to neighbors at this point, nor does it cause any nuisance to them. The current location of the structure aligns with the land use code in preservation of open space and once again appeals to aesthetics since it's not visible. Keeping the structure in its current location does not cause any public detriment. It is not visible or located in any public right-of-ways, nor is it a matter of dispute between immediately neighboring properties, as shown in two supporting neighbor letters. These are from the neighbors immediately to the west, on the other side of the fence that I showed earlier, and immediately to the north of the 555 property. The structure does conform with the land use code intention for both of the zone districts and the rural area of Pitkin County. The structure is intended to remain in its existing agricultural use and current configuration without any changes made to the structure. Upon granting of a setback variance, the applicant will pursue permitting of the structure pursuant to the conditions of Administrative Decision 5 of 2024. Plans have been provided as part of the application to show the existing configuration of the structure. It's used to store agricultural equipment frequently used on the property. At 356 square feet and a height of a little bit over 11 feet, it meets the requirement for agricultural storage as defined in the land use code. We want to thank you for your time and for your consideration of our request. We have reviewed the draft resolution. We find it acceptable and have no objections and look forward to an approval. Now, Doug and Linda, as you know, are the applicants. And Doug will now briefly provide you with a little bit more detail as to who, they both are. And then after that, we're happy to answer any questions or provide additional information.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't want to take too much time, but basically just a little bit of history on us. Linda and I met here in the Valley in 1989, and I've been coming to the Valley since the early 70s. We were married in 1990 here and moved away for about 10 years, came back in 2002. We wanted to raise our children here. Our daughter went to Aspen High, graduated in 2011. Our son went to CRMS, graduated in 2018. And so we've been here. This is our permanent home. We don't have another residence. This is where we lived. In the early, late 90s, we started on that project that is 555 Katy Park Lane. And we've been there really full time ever since. So it's been about 23 years now. This structure, to the best of my knowledge, it's hard to remember back that far, but I believe that it was in exactly the current spot that it's in now. I don't remember doing anything to it. I don't, it's not something that has been on the forefront of my mind for very often, but it came up when we were in the process for the greenhouse that we were trying to build. By right, I think we were entitled to 1,600 square feet, but the property survey indicated that there was this shed as well as some other structures that needed to be permitted. So that's why we're here today. We're still here full time. What else can I tell you? But I'm happy that we get along well with our neighbors and that they're supportive of this. I work with them closely because I'm also the head of our ditch association. So we provide, the water every season to both of the neighbors that have written letters in this case, as well as 5 other properties. And I've been in charge of that now for about the last 20 years. So everybody plays nice, and I anticipate that that's what will continue. I think that the fact that they, as they indicated, it would be a shame to move it into the middle of the field, into the pasture where it's kind of level. That'd be a good spot for it also, but then it would really be a detriment to the open space there. And I think it would be more of an imposition on the neighbors if it's any imposition now. So that's, if there's any questions, be happy to try and address them.
It's quite straightforward.
Charlie, you have any questions?
I do not have any.
One question, so that 1041 hazard site review, was the structure shown on that one?
It wasn't.
Uh,
No, both county staff and Ben and Adams looked for it pretty diligently, and no, there was only the one I showed here. Do you mind if I go a couple slides back?
Yeah, that'd be great.
This right there, this is what was filed with that approval, and it just showed the new proposed plating,
Mhm.
and there wasn't, yeah.
Didn't show structures at all.
Yeah, there's no public documentation or records we can find that show exactly where that lot line was
Okay,
before.
and so, okay, so the lot line, that western lot line?
Correct.
That's the one that got adjusted,
Correct.
and
Is that,
Well,
Is that-
there were actually a few. When we went through planning and zoning many years ago, we replatted the entire property. It was a total of 5 parcels, but we redrew the lot lines. And so it still came out with 5 parcels at the end of the day. But that was one of the lot lines that changed. I think there were others.
this western one was you adjusted?
Right,
Okay.
right. It definitely did because, and essentially, are there no structures shown on that? Because there was also a house there
No, there's no structures.
no, there's no.
in that white area to the west of the green
There's a log
parcel.
cabin there.
There was a log cabin and there was a chicken coop and another barn. It's interesting that those aren't shown there. They're gone now. It's another house that's there, our neighbor's house, but
Well, back then, sometimes the hazard review was just for hazards, not for structures.
Mhm, right,
Back in the day, I was curious if that would show.
I don't know.
right.
To be clear, you're seeking an undue hardship. But right,
Correct, yes, yes,
And you had a slide on the hardship,
yes.
can you put that back, please?
What I did is I had actually clipped the code section there
Yeah, all right.
as what we've done there. So in terms, right, of the hardship, it would cause, a practical difficulty, for, the applicants to undergo moving it, the process of moving it, the expense associated with moving it. In addition to, it could create a change in neighbor relations as it would, make the structure more visible if it were to be moved. And, being that the structure is certainly not visible from any, public right of ways, nor does it, affect, in a negative way, the public in any way. But, the property itself is certainly not even visible from Snowmass Creek Road, and the structure certainly is not.
Yeah, just trying to figure out how to fit that into.
I'm wondering, I could try something, just using this code, but in a way that we haven't worded it before, because it's not a topographical or unusual topographical conditions or constraint in other regards, but maybe I would move to approve this application.
excuse
Or,
me,
yeah,
I'm so sorry, Joanna had a question in the chat.
oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
She asked, this is one page of 7. Do you have the other pages?
Not on my presentation, I don't.
Joanna, do we need to bring up some other pages from something?
she's probably talking about the approval.
No, yeah. I didn't know.
Okay, so this is a public meeting also, so yeah, sorry.
Right, oh, yeah, do we have anyone from the public?
No, we do not. There's no one online or no one in the room. Thank you.
I figured that was the case. I think I know which one she's talking about. I'm looking at them. They're so blurry. I can't make heads or tails. The scans are super blurry.
Joanne, are you speaking about the application itself that's in clerk and recorders? Or the documents you sent me?
Yeah.
No, okay. All right, I think we can leave that.
I'd ask you, does staff have a suggested approval language? That sometimes is offered for the board to consider.
Especially with existing structures,
Right.
like should we be saying that
Yes,
that
yes.
can't be altered or whatever?
A suggested approval language as far as what moves going forward within the memo.
Yeah, what our motion would be. Oftentimes,
Let me pull
it
this
has a
up.
motion and
Do
we can
you
either. accept
mind
it or
not
reject it.
sharing anymore?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
So Mac has the staff memo and the resolution that
Perfect.
Joanna, he'll bring it up for you.
Okay,
I'm not in the Zoom meeting.
Oh,
Joanna, I can forward this to
Do you
you.
want me to, I can pull it up too.
you have it.
Uh-huh, I do.
Sorry, I should have had that pulled up
No
earlier.
problem. You want the memo and Rosa?
Yes, please.
and this is going in for a building permit for an existing structure, not modifying it. You're just as is, just getting it official.
Correct. And that is how sorry, my computer's,
So
There
I'll
we
read
go.
to you the staff recommendation right now.
that is how Joanna had put together the draft resolution, conditioning that, that there would be no changes made to it. Here, I'll pull it up. Which one would you like to see first?
If you look at the memorandum,
Okay,
the recommendation states, staff recommends that the board approve a resolution approving a 48-foot, 5-inch side yard setback variance where 50 feet is required for this agricultural structure for Doug and Linda Weiser due to the existing conditions not of their making, and conditioned that the structure always remain in its present configuration, 2 walls only, no floor, and as dimensioned in the attachment / exhibit A, which we can look at in a moment here, and that no other structure shall occupy this footprint based on the approval of this variance.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Mouth here.
I would move to approve that.
Based on the staff.
Yeah.
You have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
You got your approval.
Thank you.
I.
Well,
Thank you.
well prepared.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks for.
You too can come over
Thank you.
and see the shed. Right now, it's pretty muddy.
Yeah, maybe a nice sunny day. Okay, so that closes that. Do we have any other business?
We have no other business.
So, any, motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
See you next time.
The gavel this one time?
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for your time.
You always wanted to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Bye.